Good day, and welcome to Global Sourcing. Have you ever wondered how manufacturers find all the parts and ingredients they need to make your favorite products? Or what would happen if they couldn't find those ingredients or components? As our world's population expands and all countries become more modernized, the demand for natural resources and components becomes more competitive. The more you know about what your grocers and favorite brands are going through, the more you will understand the cost impact at home. My name is Christina Owens, Managing Partner of SASA LLC. I own a small Midwest sourcing company working mainly with the emerging markets of the BRIC nations. That's Brazil, Russia, India, and China. We work with partners around the world to provide agriculture products, infrastructure products, and energy products. Today, I will explain to you the basic importance of global sourcing for competitive companies. After today, you will understand a bit about global sourcing, why is it important, and what natural resources life cycles look like. Working in the world of commodities is exciting and stressful. I hope you enjoy learning about a little-known industry that affects all the others. According to Purchasing and Procurement Center online, the most common definition of sourcing is the process of identifying potential vendors, conducting negotiations with them, and then agreeing to supply contracts with these vendors. That's essentially what we do at SASA LLC. We make relationships with asset holders, things like steel or cement for infrastructure, obviously petroleum, D2, gasoline for energy products, things like sugar, wheat, flour, maybe spices for agricultures or bio oils. Those are the types of things that we would deal with on an everyday basis. Further, implementing a global sourcing strategy means efficiently sourcing goods and services from any country that can manufacture the goods or provide the service more economically. That's also a quote from Purchasing and Procurement Center. I'd like to discuss a little bit about the kinds of purchasers that, or people that participate in this industry. There are first purchasers. Those can be wholesalers or investors, procurement managers for end users. That might be the factories that make your favorite foods or the companies that you're used to receiving your fuel from. Also, there are investors in this space. Surprisingly enough, many of the mutual fund families that you know from your 401k, Oppenheimer, or some of the other larger companies that you may have seen investing in assets on the market, Blackstone, for example, they regularly purchase and then resell at the wholesale level, utilizing the fund's financial capabilities in order to increase the profits of those fund monies. So it's interesting, you see that your 401ks are actually building equity on assets and not just on shares of other companies. Also, there are intermediaries or the middlemen in the market, and critics who suggest the eliminating wholesalers and other middlemen would result in lower prices for consumers do not recognize that eliminating intermediaries would not do away with the need for their services. This is in fact very true. Hillary Clinton, for example, in her campaigning on trying to sway the public that oil prices were indeed high because of the middlemen or intermediaries in the market structure, which is an incorrect fact. We're actually paid very little on the commodity contracts, even though it looks large over the grand scheme. But if we didn't provide our services and the networks and the relationships to connect the companies on both sides to keep the negotiations fair, then we wouldn't be able to do things in an ethical manner according to operations. Also, I would like to talk about the different types of vendors that would be in this type of services, and those may be mine operators or owners. It may be various farmers, obviously, of the different crops around the globe, as well as manufacturers themselves who perhaps buy part of the product or buy multiple products and then recreate a new component or a new product to resell, but that in itself is still an ingredient. I'd like to also let you know why sourcing is important to you. Quality and price, obviously, are very important. Manufacturers want the best quality of products so that they can in turn offer the best quality products that they make to the public. The search and find mission of procurement officers to find better crops, healthier foods, um, are sometimes difficult. One, because they need to find the farmers, and two, then they need to learn about how their methods are and then what kind of actual produce they come up with. There again, this is where the relationship networks play a key point in knowing the vendors and being able to help the customers find exactly what they're trying to match up. You want the products to be available and sustainable. These are the two challenges that really cause a problem in the future because of the increased needs globally and obviously the decrease in available products as well. Purchasing and Procurement Center also tell us that global strategic sourcing is not a new fad. It's been a strategy for large multinational firms for more than 30 years. Medium-sized and single country-based companies must take the plunge and embrace it. It may be necessary to their survival in an increasingly competitive global market. Benefits outweighing the risks and the rewards are extensive. As you can see, in the arena of global sourcing, sometimes the purpose is reduction of costs or increased quality in a product. But in the future, finding the resource will be the utmost importance. How does it really work? I'd like to show you an example of the life cycle of oil. It's something that I know is in the news quite a bit. It's something I know because of the price increases that people are very concerned about. And you may not know exactly how many hands that little drop of oil goes through. There's also a slide in the presentation that runs you through the life cycle as well. Let's start with crude. Crude petroleum obviously is pumped from the ground in one way, shape, or form, whether that's offshore drilling or shelf drilling. Anyway, they claim the crude from the earth. That is sent to a stage one refinery. So that refinery generally will purchase the fuel from a drilling company or an exploration company who has the mineral rights and has done the work to bring the oil up. So that sets the base price, which is on the crude. So the crude then goes to refinery A. That refinery will run the product through a process, and then often that first stage process goes either into chemicals or it will go into fuel. Let's just use fuel for this example. So let's say that the refinery A creates the product, and then they have what's called D2, or gas oil, diesel. That product is then sold from the first refinery, often to a wholesaler. That wholesaler will then in turn either sell it to shipyards that can burn that type of fuel in the ocean liners and cargo ships, or they will resell it to another refinery. Essentially, the wholesaler is a reseller. That sets the next price of the product. Then that product may go, let's say, for example, it continues on down the food chain and it goes to Refinery B. Refinery B will take the product, they will refine it again, and then it will either turn into JP54, which is an example of an aviation fuel, or it may be refined a little bit differently and blended with a couple of other products, and it may be turned into gasoline. That refinery then may sell the products, either jet fuel or gasoline, to another wholesaler. That wholesaler will then turn around and sell the product to sometimes an investor who will then sell it to an end user, or it may go directly to an end user. That may be a gasoline chain, or it may be an airport. That generally follows the trail down. And obviously, if you use your common sense, each time it goes through the market, you need to build in the costs that cover your product, and you'll build in your profit. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you understand how commodities and global sourcing works a little bit better. As we look into the future, I'd like to leave you with one more quote from the Procurement Center. If a company wants to stay in business, exploring global strategies, strategic sourcing is a definite must. Over 90% of the Fortune 1000 companies have undergone some type of strategic supply chain initiative outside their own country. The use of global sourcing has been the driving force behind the development of the global economy. Indeed, the life cycle of any natural resource product is fascinating when reviewed from beginning to end. Yet we must be diligent to protect the needs of the future. As I have explained to you, the basic importance of global sourcing from competitive companies large and small. As I have said, now you understand a bit more about global sourcing, why it's important to your families, and how a natural resource moves from beginning to end. Consequently, the next time you are at the grocer or the gas pump, consider the information you've gained today and how it may affect the current price you see. Thanks so much, and have a great day.